Hey guys, Coach here. Hey, welcome back to the channel and thanks for taking a couple of minutes to join me here. We are going to be talking briefly about the importance of water and water application in the garden. And specifically a little bit later, we have our first product review coming up. So I am glad you're here. Let's get started. Remember that, water during the heat of the summer, unless you're blessed with a lot of rainfall, supplemental water was always a very critical thing for garden care. Now, for some of you, you probably have automated irrigation or manual irrigation that you can automate and make it very easy to apply the correct amount of water. But there are many of you out there that do not have irrigation systems, and you're relegated to the old hose dragger routine to be able to adequately apply and keep your garden moist to a certain degree and allowing it to thrive throughout the warm summer months. So doing the whole summer hose dragging routine, I'm holding on to two 75-foot hoses here at our friend Gary's house. And this is heavy. It's full of water and stuff, but it's also very cumbersome. And yes, you can put things on walls and you can put them on posts and stuff to keep them up off the ground and whatever. But more advanced hose systems have come along now. And that's what we're looking at here today. Things that don't quite take up this much space. Now, I'll tell you up front, I have not been sponsored by this company that we're going to talk about. I have some positive thoughts about it already, and from the professional angle, which is what you're going to get from me here today, I have a little reservations as far as whether this would work in a professional application. But it's certainly going to be less cumbersome and certainly a lot lighter than what we're dealing with here today. Okay guys, welcome back. We were contacted by the Lefree company, and I know that there are some other videos out there on the platform and other places that have reviewed this hose, and by all means go check out some other people's opinions. But the direction that I'm coming from is from a professional, a serious homeowner that had lots of land and lots of hoses over the years, and to see if it measures up to something that you might use in a professional or a very serious homeowner size yard. Now this is a 100-foot expandable type of hose, and we have not unboxed it at all. I wanted to do it with you guys. So let's take a look at that. This kind of reminds me of one of those genies in a bottle type of thing, that once you open it up, you're not gonna get it back in. So it does have a little bit of, believe it or not, a little of instructions and usage on that. It does have a lifetime warranty. And that's interesting, and you should go to lifetimesupport.net to check out what the parameters are of the lifetime warranty. The box that it comes in has some advertisement on it. The only thing that really stood out to me is it said 1,500 uses. And I verified with the salesperson that contacted me, and I said, so what happens at 1,501 uses? The lady told me they tested it 1,500 times. Guaranteed use. Let's just say you used it once a day. So you would have a minimum of 4 years of use guaranteed. And I said, well, does the warranty apply after that as well? It's a lifetime warranty. In 10 years, if it bursts, that's a little unclear. Okay, so inside the box, we have a little plastic hose hanger. As you can see, it's not rigid, it's a little flexible. But for the weight of this hose, it would be a substantial enough to put on a wall or put on a post and hang it there. Pretty good idea. Teflon tape, which you can put on the male end of your hose receptacle. And it has a little trigger sprayer. A lot of the trigger sprayers that I have been exposed to over the years are not meant for professional use. They tend to break down, they tend to leak around the selector dial all the time, and this one has like 10 different selectors, and we'll turn it on and see how it works in a little bit. It's solid. It's something that you might not find it at a landscape supply store, but you'd certainly find it at hardware stores and Walmarts and things like that. Comes with a few gaskets, both for the hose bib side and then also for in here, with one extra it comes with. So that's good. And here's your 100-foot hose. That's if you just think back just a minute or so when we were dealing with those other hoses, this is all of it right here, and there's no water in it, obviously. And it's pretty light. I would say that's probably maybe 4 pounds, maybe. And you compare that to a 75-foot regular 5/8 or 3/4 inch hose, much different, much different. So allow me to go ahead and set it up, and then we'll get back with you in just a second. Okay, all hooked up, dry. I paced it off at about 51 feet. Now remember, this is a 100-foot advertised hose. Now I've charged the line and it has expanded. Now let's just pull it out just a little bit and see how many more feet it actually is when it's stretched out complete now. Because you can see it all kinked up, which added linear feet to it. So in pacing this off now, after charging the hose with water and it expanding out, it is a brand new hose, so I'm assuming it's not broken in all the way. But just relaxed, sitting on the driveway, it came out to be 81 feet. Now, if I took it and strained it and just stepped back with it, yeah, you'd get 100 feet. It does have a nice shutoff valve, a brass finish shutoff valve at the male end, the terminal end of it. The trigger sprayer does come with a washer inside, and it does fit pretty good. I did not put on the Teflon tape yet, because honestly, you shouldn't need Teflon tape if you have a hose gasket. Well, let's turn it on and see what it's going to be like. Now, this thing has a center nozzle. It's interesting because when I turned the water on, it shrunk. Turn the water off, and it wants to go back to a squiggly snake. And the one thing I noticed on this is it is rather thin in diameter. I would say the inside diameter of the hose is a 1/2 inch or less. The exterior diameter of the hose, the outside diameter, I would say would be over a 1/2 inch. It does have a little bit of a rubber strain relief right here at the shutoff valve, out at the terminal end, which would help if you're doing angles and whatnot. That is a nice feature. I've not seen that on any other hose. Generally, we just have the brass crimpings on the male end or the female end and call it good. So a little bit of strain relief. I noticed that when it's charged right now, I can still squeeze it shut with just the pressure of my fingers. So that's interesting. I've not had that. I don't know what the exact pounds per square inch is coming out of the hose bib. But if I'm able to do that, chances are, I would say it's less than 40 PSI right now. Right now we have it set on the center just to see how far it goes. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe 20 feet, something like that. The full one, about the same, but much more solid. Flat. Now, for watering container plants and such, the shower would probably be the most useful part of the trigger. Cones would be fine if you're moistening down ferns and so whatnot out there in the garden or on the patio. Maybe misting down fuchsias, cascading fuchsias during the heat of the summer. The jet one kind of looks very much like kind of the full one, I guess. Full and the jet are kind of like the same thing. Soaker, that would be good for containers as well. You know, if you got in close. Angled spray, that'd be good if you're doing down stuff you can't really, you don't have it on a high rise to do things. The mist, be good for misting ferns as well. Also fuchsias and begonias and other things. Just remember hard water spot if you're really particular. Half vertical, that's one that I've not seen before. So instead of spraying like in a cone, it's a half vertical spray this way as it comes out. You can see it versus flat, half vertical. One thing I do like about it is I don't see, because it's probably brand new, I don't see the leaky drippies that I've seen in many of these things over the past. It does have a tension screw on here, so if there was a washer or a gasket in here, that you could tighten it back down if it happened. Longevity-wise, I don't know. You can't put the trigger on full active like that, so it's pulling back, so you're not having to hold it. If people are infirmed or have bad arthritis or a hand injury or whatever, you can set it and forget it and just use it that way. The tension screw does absolutely nothing. So the type of hoses that I use primarily in landscaping and stuff were 3/4 hoses. Towards the end, I was almost 100% red rubber hose. Probably the most expensive ones you could get, but they lasted for freaking ever. And they were extremely, extremely durable. I think this would be okay in some applications, construction-wise. But I do believe it would be a great addition to a small backyard residential homeowner application. If you want something that's lighter weight, that still puts out enough water to water the lawn by hand, the flow rate of this thing is about 5 gallons. We'll just test that right now. Go. So 5 gallons in a minute. This thing should be full when that thing cuts out.
Stop.
Okay, so doing a flow test on this particular hose, typical 5 gallon box store bucket here. We did it for 60 seconds. It filled it about 2/3 of the way, which means it's going to be somewhere around 3.5, 3.75 gallons per minute. Now, in a homeowner application, say like hooking this up to a manual drip system or washing your car, watering the containers on the patio, all of that could still be done. Where would it be lacking? I think it would probably be lacking in the flow if you were doing 2 impact sprinklers to water part of your lawn or all of your lawn. I think it would be lacking when it came to rinsing off the dirt bikes after coming back, and you need a lot of flow and maybe a little bit of a power on that pressure nozzle there. And in this gallon, I took off the trigger sprayer and used it just flat out of the hose nozzle, which gave me as much flow as it's going to get. And when I look inside this, I noticed that it is it's a small orifice. I would almost hazard to guess it's like 3/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, but I don't think so. So in the homeowner application, I think it's a good alternative. Obviously, you're not using as much water. You're not going to waste that much water. If you're out in the driveway soaking down your car and then soaping it up and rinsing it off, you're not going to use as much water. So that's a good thing. Longevity-wise, I can't really speak to it yet, because we just got it. We're going to put it through its paces over the next several months, and we'll kind of see how it does. When we wash the rig, when we rinse the trailer or wash the trailer out, we'll see exactly what it lives up to. But I'd like to take a minute and thank the Lefree company. You can find these on Amazon, and when this video does come out, they have told me that the viewers can go to the link below, and you get up to a 15% discount off the purchase. What do they cost? This one here retails around the $59 mark, depending on who the retailer is. So lastly, guys, let's look at the size of storage capabilities. You know, at my feet here, you saw the garden hose from earlier. 2 75 or 50 footers connected together so that our friend Gary can reach various areas of fruit trees and beds, etc. And here's the 100-foot Lefree. And you can see the size that it takes up and its storage weight, even though it still has a little bit of water in it, much, much, much lighter to handle. This could be stored in that 5-gallon bucket, or you could use the hose hanger, which is probably what we're going to do, and put it on a wall somewhere. So there you go, the Lefree 100-foot expandable 3rd generation nano rubber technology that won't kink, and it expands out from about 50 plus feet, and then as it breaks in, it stretches all the way to 100 feet. Kind of interesting. We're going to test it over the rest of the year. We'll probably give you an update towards winter when we're not using it anymore. Anyway, thank you. We'll catch you next week. Bye for now. I'm going to say 81 minimum, and then stretched out, you finish it off the last 13 feet to 100.